The crew, well, we're just a Betamax tape in a VHS world. I'm your host, Kavan Bordelon, and the crew, that's crew with a K, is back in the TSPL. We'll solve the problems of the world one weekly whiskey at a time, and we'll do it in 2 hours or less. We'll use your implicit bias. Now, we may not even realize that we are actually all prisoners of sorts. Some of us physical, some of us psychological. Remember Palm Pilots? Yeah, those little brick-shaped anxiety rectangles we carried like digital rosaries. Wrote my entire life in that damn thing. Lists, dentist appointments, strategic plans for world domination via crypto strategies. Yeah. And where'd it get us? Right here. Staring at my Google calendar, color-coded like a neon Tetris game I'm destined to lose. Yeah, we are Gen Xers on Implicit Bias Radio. We were raised on Y2K panic drills, nuclear war, duck and cover cartoons. We treat planning like armor. Gotta optimize, maximize, synergize, schedule bathroom breaks lest we miss the fleeting window of productivity. It's freaking exhausting. Worse than trying to program our parents' VCR clock. Remember that eternal blinking? That's, unfortunately, the soul of an over-planner right there. Perpetually blinking midnight, never actually, though, on time. And look, Jesus kind of nailed this lunacy centuries before Brenda Spencer picked up a rifle. Luke chapter 17, verses 20 to 25. You might want to flip to it. Dude basically tells the Pharisees chasing prophecies like they're chasing the high score on Pac-Man, hey, the kingdom of God is not coming in ways that can be observed. For behold, the kingdom of God is in the midst of you. Mic drop, first century style. He followed it up with a cosmic reality check. The days are coming when you will desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. For as the lightning flashes and lights up the sky from one side to the other, so will the Son of Man be in his day. Translation? Stop staring at the damn map, Clark Griswold. The magic, it ain't in your trapper keeper filled with highlighters and color-coded sticky notes. Lightning doesn't fax you an itinerary. It just strikes. Probably while we're busy alphabetizing our spice rack. The truth is that we build these elaborate cages out of our Outlook invites and 5-year plans that are thicker than a phone book. We treat spontaneity like it's anthrax in the mail. Gotta schedule unstructured creative time from 2:15 to 2:45 p.m. Must block off potential existential crisis on Thursdays. It's absurd. It's like trying to choreograph a mosh pit at a Metallica concert. Life, we got news for you. It's not Tetris. It's more like Calvin Ball. Chaotic. Ridiculous rules invented on the fly and profoundly alive. Remember trying to plan a blockbuster run on Friday night, debating movie choices like UN diplomats, only to get there and find out that everything good was rented? Over-planning is that feeling, essentially. Standing in fluorescent lit defeat, holding cop and a half because your laminated flowchart didn't account for Chad from accounting engaging the last copy of Terminator 2. The kingdom, heck, just real life. It ain't hiding in our bullet journals, folks. Life is in the unplanned detour that leads us to a killer taco truck. It's laughing till milk comes out of our nose during an unscheduled phone call. It's the weird, holy lightning strike of connection when we ditch the itinerary and actually see the human beside us in the grocery store. This is the little secret that unwise, unfaithful, untalented, and sometimes evil people don't want the rest of us knowing. And it's this. Those people, they want to build a life constructed in the calendar, in their planner. See, they think that if we plan enough and we're detailed enough, then life will work out the way we plan. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our plans, they don't matter. Our timelines, they're pretty much pointless. We simply can't understand, much less control the plans of our Creator. And that's exactly what our calendars are trying to do. It's why we need to shirk the hubris of overplanners like the Hulk shrugging off Loki's verbal insults. We need to abuse the puny god of planning similarly. The reality is, We need to put down the day timer. Let the calendar blink like that forgotten appliance. Stop trying to pick when the lightning's going to strike. Walk out the door without knowing if the DeLorean gets us to 88 miles an hour today. The kingdom, well, it's already here. Probably playing Galaga in the dive bar next door while our color-coded life implodes. Go find it before the floppy disk finally corrupts. The whiskey? It will not corrupt this week. It is your pick on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. You picked it. We'll review it. We'll have special offerings selected by your implicit bias. We've got some great stories, some unwise plans, which we'll expose, and trust us, you don't want to miss us exposing ourselves on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. We were planning on it being weekly whiskey time in segment 2. We were also planning on having 4 members of the crew here for this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. But you know what we say about plans? Well, yeah, they're not worth their weight in anything. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. This is Implicit Bias Radio, where we are planning on sampling some weekly whiskey for you and introducing you to the crew here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL this week. So let me start right here. Let's go to the bar first, where we've got a unique situation. Because, Jonathan, you own the bar. This is all you.
I'm liking it. I got a plethora of alcohol around me.
Oh, I love it. That's El Guapo, a plethora,
Would
right?
you say I have a plethora?
Would you say I have a plethora? Yes, you have a plethora of whiskeys. I love that. You've got offerings up there from multiple locations, members of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective that you can go get, picks that are just absolutely fantastic. But the one that we're going to sample here is really, really special. I'll explain why right after we introduce our next member of the crew. He is sitting in the Caleb Morse chair this week. He is from Kennebra, and I love it because this bottle that we're going to feature this week, Grant, it's K&B purple. Have you figured that out?
Oh, I saw that. I don't know. Is that? Ugh.
Oh, that is absolutely K&B
mauve-ish.
purple. No, that is
mauve-ish.
absolutely K&B purple.
Okay.
That's Kennebra.
That's a nice setup. I was saying earlier, all of this stuff from Pinhook has been fantastic.
Yeah, it has. And you know what the fun part about this bottle is? Because of that K&B purple, when you open it, it doesn't make that popping cork, that popping sound that corks make.
Right.
You know this is what sound it makes?
Yeah.
You open it, it says bigger, better diamonds for less. That's what it says. Bigger, better diamonds for less.
I missed it. I was deep in the book over here.
Grant Galatas, of course, of William S. Nacall Jewelers, and I am your host, Kevon Bordelon. Caleb Morse has the night off. We also have Walker Griffon here with us. Walker, you actually made it to Winner Implicit Dinner last Saturday. I'm glad you at least walked out basically even from the casino.
You mean up. I was up.
Yeah.
$14 is
$14.
up. It is up. A win's a win.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially over there.
Look, at any casino, right? A win is a
Yes.
win. But yeah, so I am glad that you walked out. I would think that having the dinner at Mr. Lester's, having the booze at the bar, and having a hotel room that you didn't have to pay for, that would have been a win in and of itself. But apparently not. Spoiled much?
It was.
Well,
but I wanted to add on top of it.
Oh, I say greedy. You greedy little. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of greedy, I'm going to be greedy with this one because this particular weekly whiskey coming to you from our weekly whiskey partners, a member of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective at News in Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. This is your weekly whiskey. And I say that wholeheartedly, not facetiously, not jokingly. This is a weekly whiskey picked by the listeners of Implicit Bias Radio. So for those who were around in the summer and for those who were able to make it and bought tickets and helped us raise money for Catholic Charities of Acadiana Veteran Alliance, St. Michael's Shelter for Homeless Vets, we picked a whiskey. Like part of the fundraising there was to be a part of the whiskey pick selection process at News. And this 5-year-old Pinhook straight bourbon at 119 proof, this is the pick. So this is how you can tell if you go to a News location, just turn it around and you'll see the Implicit Bias sticker on the back. It's even got the QR code. You can go ahead and put your camera on it. It'll take you to all of our stuff. You can go find us. You can subscribe so you know where to go get your weekly whiskeys. But it tells you that this 5-year-old Pinhook single barrel, 119 proof is your weekly whiskey because you picked it. So Jonathan, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts on this? What was your initial hit on the palate with this 5-year-old Pinhook?
Initially, I thought it might have been around 90, 95 proof on my first sip. But as I hit the second or third, I thought it crept up a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness in the smell.
Okay.
A little bit of peppery.
Yeah.
On the back of the throat, especially. A little bit of clove. I'm getting a little bit of clove in there.
I get a little clove also. Yes.
And that's pretty much the majority of what I'm tasting. It does linger around for a bit.
So one of the things that I do really like about this, Jonathan, is this one, it's oily. It's got that viscosity to it that makes it a little thick. This is what I would affectionately call a camp or winter bourbon, because this is that type of bourbon that when you're at the camp and it's cold, and I know we're in southern Louisiana and it's 80 degrees right now.
Next to a fire.
Yeah. When you're, though, at the camp, it's cold, you're next to the fire, you got some blankets, maybe you got your wife there with you, and you want to get warm on the inside, this will help you get there. And this is that caramel profile. It's not that deep caramel, but it gives you, to me, enough of the caramel that, yeah, it really sits, and you start to think bourbony McBourbon a little bit.
I'm reminded of the Cairo syrup when I taste it.
I agree with you. Yes, the dark Cairo syrup, not the light. I absolutely agree. This does give you almost caramel popcorn-esque on the palate. And what I find is that this gets to the back of the cheeks. It actually gets up into the nostrils, especially if you're just exhaling as you swallow or exhaling right after you swallow. You get all those beautiful vapors off of this that really makes you know this, when you think of bourbon, is really what you expect when you get bourbon. And I would not have put this at a 5-year. If I didn't know, I would have thought this was significantly older than 5 years. You?
I agree. I would have said 7, 8.
Yeah, I'd have given this an 8-year offering easily. Okay, Grant Collada sitting in for Caleb Morse. So, Grant, I'm going to put your nose to the test, and we're going to see just how deep that vocabulary gets and how far your memory goes to Mama's house and the east side, west side, everything.
It's not rubbing off.
It's not rubbing off?
No, I tried to sit over here and formulate something, but no. Actually, it's a wonderful, wonderful profile. It's right where I want to be with the. I don't know if it's as much a caramel as it is a vanilla. You said it was a little bit thicker, so I was doing the little tilt the glass and see if it. Yeah, it's kind of viscous, I guess. But
for me, it's more on the palate than the glass.
Right, and it coats just fine, and you can feel it going down. I think that's what you were saying, Jonathan.
Yeah.
You can. I like it when you can kind of feel it in the chest as it warms you up a little bit. But it doesn't drink like a 119, which is another fine attribute. It's just such a good sweet, which is what I look for every single time.
So interesting that on the nose, I get floral oak. So I get that oak on the nose, but I also get some of those lighter floral notes that kind of waft back into the palate on the nose. It almost gives a hint of honeysuckle on the nose to me. So that dark honey, I definitely get in this, especially on the nose. Now, when this hits the palate, that first sip, and it's interesting what's happened to it as it's opened a little bit, gotten a little air underneath it, because the first pour, which I actually took that, might have been a little bit necky. I didn't find it as necky. I just found the flavors different. So I didn't find it rough. I didn't find it harsh. I just found it a little different. The first sip, I got heavy, heavy cherry sour. So I got real cherry on the front. And I don't mean like real cherry, like an actual cherry. I mean like an overtly cherry sour type flavor, but without the sour. Then I started to waver to the caramel on the back. I did get that hint of vanilla, Grant, and not like the crappy vanilla extract that you can get at the store. I get like the true Mexican vanilla on this, where you go to Mexico and you bring back 7 bottles because everybody wants one because all the wives bake with it, and you leave 4 or 5 in your cupboard for the next 5 years. Cupboard? Who uses the word cupboard? Anyway, you leave it in the pantry for the next 4 or 5 years so that you've got it. So the next time you go back, you can restock. But that's the kind of vanilla I get off this. When you open that bottle of vanilla and it just hits you, that's the flavor I get on the palate. Like I said, a little viscous, a little oily. I love the flavor and I love the finish. The finish to me is what makes this really special, because the finish is long. You take that one little sip and it lasts. It doesn't necessarily make you want another sip, but it lingers. It sits there. It's like, for lack of a better term, it's like that friend that you can sometimes sit with and not say anything. You don't have to talk. It's okay just to be quiet. And then like every 20 minutes, somebody will say something, whether it's just a good fart joke or whether it's something profound. And that sip is your next comment, and it lasts.
It's a comfortable drink.
That is a great way to put it.
Drink.
Yes, this is a comforting bourbon, no doubt.
Comfortably seductive.
I don't know if this one hits me as seductive.
Well, at 119 after about 3 or 4, yeah.
At 119 after about 3 or 4, you might look good. I don't know. But therein lies the point, is that I don't know that this one's necessarily seductive. I don't necessarily get that it is that luxurious velvet a lot of times that people want and get, as opposed to this one. Man, it is just a drinkable bourbon.
Friendly.
Friendly is a great way to put it. Yes. So maybe not seductive, but friendly. I think this one is incredibly friendly.
Agreed.
And here's the sad part about this. We don't even get to play for the What Would You Pay Championship belt chain, because I picked it up at New News today. And, given my situation, people were asking why I'm in a walking boot. So for those who can't see and watch where I'm in a walking boot, yeah, I destroyed my big toe with a table last night. It's a whole different story. That when it just know this, if you drop the edge of a table on your toe, it can go splat sideways. I'm just saying. So, people asking about that. I forgot to get the price on this. Totally forgot.
Darn, I don't get to wear the chain.
Well, who says you didn't get to wear the chain? I just said we weren't playing the game. Because when we don't play the game, someone gets designated with the chain. So what I might do is I might pick a number, write it down, give it to Walker, or just write a number down and let everybody guess, and whoever's closest wins the chain. I like that idea.
Well, next break, why don't we just look it up online, see what it's...
Well, because I don't know that New News has this online, but I might be able to have some people we can reach out to. They call that efforting in broadcasting. I'm going to effort that price. We are efforting a score on a game. We're trying to get it. We are efforting the price on this. I'm going to say this, though, regardless of the price, this is definitely, to me, a must-have. Whether it is, just for us because it's got our sticker on it and that makes it nice for us. But the reality is our listeners picked this. There were multiple offerings of Pinhook at Implicit Birthday, and this was what our listeners picked. That alone makes it special because it makes this a community bourbon for all of us. That to me is such a big deal. So Grant, where do you have this rated on the Morse Whiskey rating code? Let's go down that list for those who maybe are uninitiated to the show, who do not know. The Morse Whiskey rating code is this simple. Red, I wouldn't drink it even if it was free. Yellow, I would only drink it if it was free. Green, I would buy this. Blue, I would seek this out. And given that our listeners bought it, I think I know where our listeners bought it, that our listeners picked it, I think I know where it's going to land with probably most of us. So Grant, I'm curious.
This one was tough. I mean, usually we don't associate friendly with something that's a blue. I mean, usually friendly is nice and cozy and comfortable. The flavor profile is there, but I don't know if it gets to that wow.
Really?
Spectacular.
Because see, to me, friendly is something that I absolutely want. It better be friendly or it's not making a blue.
Right.
At all.
It's just the wow factor thing. I guess I could be generous and just give this a blue.
Generous and give it a blue. I love the way I love the way that you talk that up so well.
No, but seriously, you like to designate the stuff that's blue. That's something that just it clicks all boxes. This clicks a lot of them, but I just.
Okay, so this is fun because I just took another waft of the nose. As I nose hump the glass and it opens up, I just got a hint of banana on this.
Really?
Yeah, almost like a little Jack Daniels-ish on it. Like the high proof, really high quality stuff Jack Daniels. Jonathan, did you pick any of that up?
Not really.
Not really?
I didn't
Okay.
get the banana. I didn't get
No banana. Okay, just on the nose.
Yeah.
Well, I like bananas, so I'll give it a blue.
All right, Jonathan, what are you thinking?
The fact that the flavor hangs around for a while.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a blue. It's definitely it's a little more of the proof than I'm accustomed to.
Really? I thought you'd gotten.
well,
I thought you'd kind of gotten to be a little bit of a proof hound with the rest of us here on the show.
I did, but I'm still not up to your level yet. I was a 90, 100, and then after coming here, I got to 105, comfortable, but it's still taking me a little bit of time.
But it's well masked.
It's well masked.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Which means that it is just proofed that well.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because when you've got a master distiller who finds that right proof point, the alcohol just doesn't really tear you up. The alcohol accentuates all the flavors, and that's what I think you've got going on here, right? The alcohol, to me, accentuates the flavors, and that's why a proof at 119 is that incredible and that well done. And I like cask strength. Walker didn't ask for a glass. Walker, you partook at our last show at Mr. Lester's, if I remember right. Are you partaking again?
No, not tonight.
Oh, that was loud, Walker. What the heck? That was just mean.
Sorry.
Not tonight? Okay, fine, Walker. Fine, Walker. Don't engage in being friends with us. We don't need to be friends with you either. We don't like you either, Walker. All right. So, yeah, I rate this one a blue. To me, this one absolutely belongs in deep blue. The implicit bias infinity bottle on the bar right in front of Jonathan. Yeah, we need to put a little of this in there because this will absolutely add to that and add to it perfectly. Only blues, by the way, go in deep blue. And Grant, I think you guys, as y'all are getting ready at William S. Nacall, y'all still have some decanters, correct? For those who might want to gift a decanter to someone for Christmas?
I would have to check.
Okay.
And that means you have to contact me. So
There you go. Just go into William S. Nacall Jewelers in Lafayette.
we call that bait.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. That's kind of the
But
whole
I
point.
know last time you were in the store, we were talking about it, and I thought Chantel said she might have had one tucked away somewhere.
Oh, there you go. Well, so
I
if
don't mind
there's
hiding stuff especially for our listeners. So.
if there's one person out there who wants it, you better go to William S. Nacall and go get it. Okay. So this pinhook, 5-year, picked by Implicit Bias listeners, only available at the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective member Nunu's Markets, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice, single barrel cask strength bourbon with the Implicit Bias sticker on the back, the K&B purple wax on top just for Kennebra.
Love it.
Don't want to miss it. An absolute winner here in the Mr. Lester's Top Secret Podcast Lair. We'll be back as we start to solve the problems of the world, dive into the stories you're not going to get anywhere else on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Cheers. The stories you will not get anywhere else, you'll get here on Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon, and this week, we're just having a conversation as to why the best laid plans of mice and men, and we know how the rest of that quote goes. Welcome to the crew. We have sitting in for Caleb Morse. Well, he's not sitting in for Caleb Morse. He's just sitting in the chair that normally Caleb's in, is Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, otherwise known as Kennebra.
I think I like being in the front seat.
You like the chair?
Yeah.
The chair's a little more comfortable?
Co-pilot.
Co-pilot? Yeah. There you go. All right.
It's very comfy.
It is maybe a little more, should I say, genteel than sitting at the bar.
It's very plush.
There you go. Plush is a good one. Plush is a good
My
word.
booty is very happy.
You enjoy
I
our
could've-
mandible.
I could have done without knowing that, Grant. I don't need to know about the happiness of said booty. Anyway, at the bar, Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services. Jonathan, you are at the bar, and I'm sorry it's not probably quite as comfortable as the chair, as Grant just so eloquently told us.
Being at the bar is most marvelous.
Well, you've got access to everything up there, which
All close at hand.
there you go.
Too close, man.
All close at hand. And we right now are drinking. Yeah, we got to watch out that too close. The chair of intoxication could have a name again. But we do have this pinhook 5-year. This is your pick. Picked by Implicit Bias radio listeners at Implicit Birthday last July. The barrel has dropped at Nunu's Markets, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. We're actually trying to effort a price on this so we can play What Would You Pay? Oh, and we have it. Check that out. Ask and you shall receive. No plans to have this. See, God just worked it out. Okay, so let's start here. Grant, where would you price this 5-year barrel strength bourbon whiskey from Penelope, picked by Implicit Bias radio listeners?
I'm going to go straight at $59.
$59. Jonathan, for the What Would You Pay championship belt chain, where would you go with this?
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to say $89.99.
$89.99. Wow. I love that this is closest to the whole because everybody overshot this, first of all. Wow. This is not a $59 bottle of whiskey. This is not an $89.99 is what you said, Jonathan?
Correct.
Nope. This is $54.99, which means Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, who's looking for bigger, better diamonds for less, gets to wear the What Would You Pay championship belt chain presented by Box Drop of Lafayette. Because, Grant, you were just, what, $4 and a penny away?
I'm not speaking.
Or $3 and a penny away. Yeah. So
I refuse to be this comfortable in this chair and have to wear that thing. I refuse.
well, there you go. You got the What Would You Pay championship belt chain on this blue rated whiskey from the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective partners at Nunu's Markets in Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. Okay, so I do want to jump into the stories, and this one to me fits our theme so well this week on Implicit Bias Radio. It's a story we have been talking about literally on this show forever. If you remember, those who were with us back in 2020 when we started Implicit Bias Radio, this was one of those stories that we were kind of out in front of this one way back then. And it has come and gone and come and gone and come and gone. And now the story is back. It's our favorite person who didn't kill himself. Welcome back to the show, Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein files are back. And I really, before we even go into any of the details about why it's back, would love to get some reaction from the crew here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. Grant, you want to start us off?
It's amazing. This guy just won't go away.
Well, apparently he did go away, but maybe he didn't because we
know,
don't know if
but-
he killed himself or not. I
But
mean,
honestly, you said it well a little while ago. Any affiliation with Trump, and it's the pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and now it's coming to light that the man behind the curtain is making an appearance while a congressional hearing is going on.
oh, so that's kind of the beginning of all this, right? I mean, I say the beginning. It's not the beginning of the resurgence of the story. It's kind of the beginning of, to me, where this really starts to take root again. And we're going to get there because I'm going to walk us through the paces of how this story came back into the news. But Jonathan, now that it's back in, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, we know why it's back in because we have a new man in office in the White House. Same story could have been well talked up 4 years ago.
But hold
But
on,
it wasn't.
because remember, I thought that there was no story here. I thought that this was all a made-up hoax because less than 6 months ago, we were told, oh, we're going to get these releases. We had influencers being given binders of files and all this stuff at the White House. And then there was really nothing new in it. And then it was, oh, well, now Epstein is a friend of Trump. And that's how this all gets started, which is what brings us to why we started talking about this again.
But look, it's a bad look because it was Kash Patel's FBI. The people came out of the White House holding the white binders.
Oh, that
saying,
was a bad
Here we
look.
go.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's gonna now. We're all gonna know. End of mystery. But it's just so strange because the Democrats were in power and it never came to fruition. And now Trump's got the White House and all the other houses, and they're still trying to hold back on it. So it's an enigma. It's basically an enigma at this point.
It's a
because
riddle wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah, inside a mystery. Yeah,
It's
I
not a
love it.
mystery.
But it's
JFK,
just-
for those who
I
don't
mean,
know where that quote's from.
It's really baffling at this point because I guess it just has so many deep ties to it that neither side can actually expose it.
So first of all, let's bring out what really got this back in the news. Because the Epstein thing had really gone away until I believe it was the official Democrat Twitter page that released, oh, new Epstein emails are getting released. And there's communication about the 47th president of the United States, about Donald Trump. And I believe the quote was in an Epstein email, Donald Trump knows more. He is the, quote, dog that is yet to bark. And the implication being that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were really good friends.
And spent Thanksgiving together? Was that
Something
the
like
story or
this.
something?
Yeah, so there's, and they allegedly released these emails. Well, here's the real fun part. Please don't believe us on this. Please don't. Because it's confirmable. So please don't believe us. Go look it up. So you get all this information. And we actually kind of said this on a show a couple of weeks ago. We were like, look, if this were a thing, if this were really a thing, the Democrats would have released this 4, 6, 10 years ago. They would have used this information to get Trump out years ago. Well, what, 48 hours after the Democrat Twitter or X releases these emails, what did they do? Anybody catch what they did?
Oh, was that in one of the stories that you sent that they retracted?
They
it? Told to
deleted it.
retract? Yeah, completely.
They
took it out.
completely deleted it. Like, oh, we didn't do it. What you saw here, you didn't see. You didn't see anything. They pulled the Frank Drebin standing in front of the fireworks stand. Nothing to see here while it's going off behind him because, personal opinion, they took the bait. Personal opinion, Democrats were fed this and they took the bait. They put it into the public eye because they thought it would incriminate and they thought it would hurt Donald J. Trump. Well, now all of a sudden people are going, this isn't really a thing, right? This thing might be made up. These emails might not be real. So the Democrats retract them. And then what does Trump say? What does Trump do? What happened in the last 48 hours before recording this episode?
Well, you're talking about him saying, okay, go ahead, release it.
Trump gets him to put a bill
let's
through
go.
and says, release the hounds.
Put it up or shut
right?
up. Yeah.
Let's see it all.
So it's now it's before the Senate. Now they're going to vote in the Senate to actually release everything, correct?
So I believe the first vote was already in the Senate. That's been approved. I think it's on its way to the House now.
Okay, but I don't believe it for a second because there is some really damning stuff.
Check that
in-
back. Check
in
that. No, it was voted on in the House now that I think about this because Clay Higgins
to
was
the
one of the
Senate, right.
votes against.
He was
because
the only one, wasn't he?
No, he was one of two, but he
Okay.
wanted some names retracted. He wanted those who were truly innocent to be held out of it
Right.
and to be redacted. And,
yeah,
and he said that. He
his
said, I'll
rationale
vote for
was
it.
yeah,
he
his
said,
rationale
I'll
was
vote for it
fantastic.
just as this is the only phrase I want entered, and they refused to enter it.
Spoken like a true law enforcement official.
Correct.
Because there were a lot of people involved in it that it's better that their names not be made public.
Correct.
This doesn't suit some of the younger.
Well, and not just that. You've got innocent people who are always mentioned in criminal investigations, and their name just being associated with this
Right.
is going to hurt them.
Correct.
So what you have is you have the Democrats allegedly releasing emails that claim that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein are these buddy good friends. Then the Democrats go, oh, we didn't do that. You didn't see nothing, and retracted it. Took it off their X page, took it off their feed, and you didn't see anything. They thought they could Jedi mind trick the entire world.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Well, Donald Trump capitalizes and says, hey, release it. Release it all. Then you get what to me is maybe one of the biggest shoes to drop in this in a while, which is, what's her name? Plaskett?
Stacey Plaskett.
Stacey Plaskett?
Virgin Islands.
Yep. Well, there's a hearing going on, a congressional hearing with Stacey Plaskett. She is, and this has been released, please again, don't believe us on this. She is receiving personal texts from Jeffrey Epstein about what questions she should ask.
As it was happening in the hearing.
Real time, correct.
Yes. And they located where the texts were coming from, and they zeroed it in to that congressional hearing, that she was in communication directly with him. And he was saying, talk to this person, ask this person this question. That was frightening.
Was this pertaining to his case?
The case that was before the committee.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Which was, they thought, an opportunity to take down Donald
He
Trump.
was telling her what to do, and she
It was a case against Donald Trump,
Yes,
not against
correct.
Epstein.
Not against Epstein. This was a case against Donald Trump.
How convenient.
And oh, by the way, in some of these new emails that are now being released and some of the files that we have started to see, we are hearing that Epstein absolutely hated Donald Trump. That Epstein despised the man.
He said it again today while he was talking. He said,
Who's he? Hold on. Who's he?
Trump was talking about Epstein. He said, I had him kicked out of my club.
Yeah. Well,
I
okay.
didn't like the guy. He wasn't my friend.
So and let's
I love it.
let's think about just how duplicitous some of what the Democrats attempted to do was. So the emails that they released, one of the emails they said was from a victim who made some claims. Well, those claims lined up with Virginia Giuffre, or however you pronounce her last name, this
Right.
poor young lady who was a victim who has since passed, right? And she said, there's nothing on Donald Trump. But they tried to frame the emails as if it was incriminating of Donald Trump. But if it came from Virginia, who already said, Donald Trump was the only one who was nice to me, who tried to help me and get me out of this,
Yeah, we can't have that.
we can't have this. Now, this to me harkens back to the false editing of the video by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, that cost some people their jobs.
Right.
Right? So what you have is it was happening in Great Britain, and they were using emails and trying to misdirect or redirect what was being said. So this is how duplicitous all this looks like. And then we get other shoes that drop in the next 48 hours on this as this story breaks, as more and more and more comes out, which we're going to get to when we come back to the final segment of hour one of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Cheers. Jeffrey Epstein has full on become Obi-Wan Kenobi. Strike me down and I shall be more powerful than ever, Darth. I mean, that's where we are on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. We've got Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services here with us. We've got Grant Galatas of William S. Called Jewelers. Grant, otherwise known as K&B, Kennebra, and because he likes the K&B purple as well. What, Grant?
I don't want to wear this chain anymore.
Oh, you won the What Would You Pay Championship belt chain for
like
this
to see-
fantastic bottle of Kentucky. It's not Kentucky, of this straight bourbon whiskey at cask strength
Yeah.
from New News, which was picked by Implicit Bias
And
listeners.
I love the IB sticker on the back of the bottle.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm going to have to go get it just for that.
There you go.
But like, I'm around jewelry all day. I don't want a 6-pound freaking chain around my neck all evening.
Oh, please. You would love to sell a gold chain that large. I know you would.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to be an intellectual guy.
All right. So we were talking about the man that just won't die, or the man that becomes more powerful in death, AKA Jeffrey Epstein. So if you were listening to the last segment, by the way, if you missed any segments of this week's episode, very simple to find that content. Just wherever you get podcasts, go find us, like, follow, subscribe. It helps the show. And you can go back and catch past episodes, all the fun stuff that makes up Implicit Bias Radio. You can also catch all the weekly whiskeys that we go through on the show. Okay, so diving back into the Jeffrey Epstein saga, because there's just so much out there. So we find out that, yes, there is a congressional hearing where U.S. representatives are interrogating or examining Michael Cohen, Trump's attorney, and Plaskett from the Virgin Islands is receiving text to her personal cell phone number from Jeffrey Epstein. So you want a personal tie to Jeffrey Epstein? How about this one? And my personal favorite is she says, well, he was a constituent. He was a convicted pedophile constituent. How much are you going to listen to the convicted pedophile? Or maybe that tells us everything. Think about what we just said. Does she know, or should she know, that he's a convicted pedophile at the time? She absolutely should. She made a comment to the effect of, well, when people have information, you'd be stupid not to listen to them or use it. So that means she knows that the convicted pedophile has information. Does she maybe know that the convicted pedophile is connected and is in the information business? Does it tell you everything you need to know about how much she knows about Jeffrey Epstein? She knows everything. She knows all of it. And more than likely, she's trying to use all of it to her advantage.
In order to hurt Trump.
Correct.
Which is the end goal in all of these people's lives. They live, eat, breathe, sleep to try and just finally nail down something on Trump.
Now, here's the fun part. Plaskett is not the only one with connections to Jeffrey Epstein on that side of the aisle. New email releases link a political action committee, Jeffrey Epstein, and the up-and-coming New York version of Barack Obama, a.k.a. Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes, a young star at the time.
Mr. Manhattan or something like that?
No,
Really?
They gave him some kind of nickname similar to that.
they tried to
I was
call
going
him
to
the next Barack Obama.
I was going to call him Milk Dud
Yeah,
because he's
what
about
was
as smart as a milk dud, but
You
that's
said
a whole
it
nother.
just now. Yeah, Mr. Manhattan Barack Obama.
They called him the up-and-coming,
Right.
the New York Barack Obama, right? New York's Barack Obama. That's what they called Hakeem Jeffries.
So what is Hakeem Jeffries' excuse? Is he a constituent for Hakeem
Well, that's
as well?
the thing. He's not, but he's a huge political donor, which then brings up the release that came out in the last 48 hours, which is this. I love the Jeffrey Epstein ping pong ball because everybody knew that there were connections between the Epstein conglomerate, the Epstein operation, and the Clintons. Bill Clinton, everybody knew, had been to the island 26 times. We'd known this for 5 years when we started this show. We'd known this for years. Much less where we are 4, 5, 6 years down the road. Well, okay, we say, oh, he's connected to the Clintons, and then the Democrats say, no, he's a Republican guy. Then the Republicans say he's a Democrat guy. And the ping pong ball of Epstein just keeps going back and forth. But this is the really telltale thing. Now, what have we always said on this show? On this show, we have always said, believe none of what they say, believe only what they do. And in the last 24 hours before the recording of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio, we have new documentation. And those documents outline Jeffrey Epstein's political donation percentages. In other words, did he donate to both parties? The answer is yes. We're going to be very clear. He donated to both parties. Did anybody want to guess in what ratios?
1,000 to 1.
Not quite 1,000 to 1. Not quite.
Lose a 0, 100 to 1.
Almost.
Yeah.
10 to 1.
Well, it's kind of a smart thing.
90% of his donations went, or right at 90% of his donations went to the Democratic Party. Now, we are firm believers that there is not a two-party system in this country. There's one big club, and we ain't a part of it. Right?
I mean, the old adage that don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, if he's a smart man with his money, he's not going to completely paint just one side of the street. He's going to have a little sticks in a couple of different fires.
Definitely a equal opportunity
Yeah.
enthusiast.
Yeah, an equal opportunity sleazeball. I like it.
Yeah.
Or just think of it this way. If I can own politicians on both sides of the aisle, I want to own them all. I don't just want to own a few. I don't just want to own one side. I want to own them all. And here's the really interesting thing. The really interesting thing is I look at this from a 30,000-foot view and go, when's the last time you saw Democrats break ranks and vote against any Democratic initiative to roll through Congress or the Senate. When's the last time you didn't see a 100% vote on something that was important? Oh, like Obamacare? Passed in the middle of the night without one vote from the other side?
Right. I can't even remember. I mean, they if there's one thing, they're always in lockstep, no matter what is on the table.
Vote for it before you can read it.
Yeah, we have to pass the bill before we can read what's in the bill. The famous Nancy Pelosi quote, right?
It's just frightening.
But hear me out. How many times have Republicans broken ranks to pass something Democrats wanted? Plenty.
Absolutely.
So follow me here. If I own 100% of the Democrats and 10% of the Republicans, all I need is 10% of one side if I can own 100% of the other. Because if I own the 10% of the other side, anything I want passed, I've got plenty of votes.
Done.
I don't have to worry about it anymore. And now you're going to get people who are elected under an R moniker that will vote for Democratic initiatives and get all that passed however they want it. So all of this comes into play. And then here's the big one. And let me start this by saying, I am not suicidal. I thoroughly enjoy my life. Even though I did squash my toe underneath the table and made it bleed all over inside of my shoe, I am not into self-harm. I do not want to harm myself. I love my wife, my kids, my family. And if something were to happen to me, I guarantee you it is not of natural or truly accidental causes.
Spill it.
Well, the Clintons were asked to go testify in Congress in the last 24 to 48 hours about Epstein. And take a guess who said no.
Was Slick Willie?
Now, here's the fun part. Slick Willie.
Wait, they didn't both say no?
Oh, they both said no.
Well, yeah.
They both said no. But here's the fun part about Slick Willie. Do you realize what Slick Willie actually has because he is a former president of the United States?
No, immunity.
Diplomatic immunity still?
Not diplomatic, but he has immunity.
Okay. Just presidential immunity.
But here's the fun part. He can't lie if he utilizes his immunity.
Don't underestimate him.
No, if they catch him in a lie, he loses all immunity for anything he says. But he can tell the truth. Now, the interesting part here is, if he tells the truth, I wonder who that might implicate in all of this going on. If you go back and read WikiLeaks and all that stuff, which is how we learned about the Epstein case and the files and who Epstein was and who John Podesta was and who Mariana Abramovic was and the spirit cooking and all this stuff in all these emails, take a guess who gets maybe implicated if Bill has to tell the truth. Because Bill has to tell the truth about himself and he has immunity. Who doesn't?
I'm guessing his wife.
Because she was not a president of the United States.
There's no such thing as a senator or House representative immunity, right?
Wait a second, though.
Or
there
Secretary
is
of
something
State.
on the books that say that you can't implicate your wife,
Okay, no.
or you can't testify against your wife.
So here's the interesting part. There is what's called spousal privilege.
Correct.
You can claim spousal privilege, but spousal privilege would essentially be, I am invoking the fifth. If Bill goes in, he has to testify to it all. He can't claim any privilege or anything else. He has to tell it all. Now, wonder why neither of the Clintons are going to show up in Washington, D.C. to testify on all this stuff? I'm guessing Slick Willie also is not of suicidal tendencies at this moment. Because that's the really, really interesting part here. So now here are the facts that we know. What we know is that ABC years ago had the information on Epstein and the executives shut it down. They wouldn't let him report on it. And the ABC reporter, again, please don't believe me on this. It's all over X. Go look it up. The ABC reporter says, I had the Clintons. I had them all. So we know that ABC has this information. We know that Epstein, in his apartment, had a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress, in a chair, in a blue dress.
Oh, was it blue?
It was a blue dress, because who else was in a blue dress in the Oval Office? He also had a painting of George Bush in front of the Resolute desk with two towers toppled, sitting like he was playing with Legos. Yes, we know that the Lolita Express was running back and forth to the island. We know that Trump flew on the plane, not to the island. He is on the manifest, not to the island, but to New Jersey from a Florida location. We know that, we know that Epstein was a member of Trump's club. Trump had him kicked out for hitting on an underage server in the club and propositioning that underage server. We now know that Epstein gave most of his political donations to the Democrats. We know that the Clintons refused to testify. We know that he is now tied to Hakeem Jeffries and by way of Barack Obama because that was part of the Political Action Committee. We now know that the files are going to be released, and we're going to talk more about this because we now know that you will not want to miss hour 2 of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Kavan the Boot Bordelon, your host for hour 2 of Implicit Bias Radio. I think we found my nickname here, huh, Grant?
That's
'Cause
perfect.
I end up here with this damn walking boot on more frequently than I would love to actually say. By the way, if you have not seen Implicit Bias Radio, go find us YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can actually see what we look like, and for that, I apologize. But you can also see that, yeah, I am in a walking boot again this week after splattering my toe underneath the table.
I love it. Kavan the boot, Louisiana boot. I love it. It's got a nice tie-in.
Yeah, it's also kind of funny because I do end up in this damn walking boot. So that is Grant Galatas, a.k.a. K&B from Kennebra, and he likes the Kenner purple. And then, of course, or the K&B purple. And then, of course, at the bar, Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services. Jonathan, I hope you're enjoying being back here in the studio this week. And I'm sorry that we left you all by yourself at the bar.
Oh, it's fine. I'm great. I'm having a marvelous time up here. I'm just wondering, is that a custom-made boot, and where can I get one?
So, yeah.
Because I've been getting into boots lately, and I want to be paired when
You don't want to be into this kind of
need
boot.
that fitting.
And it's not custom made, trust me. Literally, it's just to keep my foot immobilized so my toe doesn't bleed all over anything. Because like I said, I literally splattered my toe. And yeah, if you think that sounds like it might look gross, trust me, it does. So, all right, let's go back into what Implicit Bias Radio is. Grant is sitting in Caleb's normal chair this week. Oh, and yeah, we're going to go into that in just a minute because Caleb would always talk about what's going on at Mr. Lester's Steakhouse in the month of November. Grant, do you remember?
No, what the specials are?
The special,
what do
yeah.
we know?
$17.92. They might have full proof. They might have sweet wheat. They
Oh, so
might have
that's
12 year.
continuing. That's
That's through the month of November.
Oh my gosh.
They might have all those different things.
If you haven't had anything involving 1792, please, you must try this. Any offering they have is
$5 pours.
oh, good.
$5 pours at Mr. Lester's. And Jonathan, you missed Winter Implicit Dinner, so that's all on you.
I know. I did see they're offering something else for the next week or two, as far as meal-wise.
Oh, the tomahawk.
Oh, my goodness.
I might actually need to make a
I think
special
that
trip
would be
down
worth
there.
a trip down there.
The boot and everything. Yeah, going down there. I'll put my foot up in the restaurant to eat at that tomahawk. Oh, it looks delicious. So yes, very special down there. $5 pour, $17.92. The only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. The food last week at Winter Implicit Dinner was off the charts. The tenderloin medallions, the lobster pinwheels, the truffle cream, spinach and cheese just was fantastic. In the
Sweet potato cannoli.
The sweet potato cannoli
Oh
was
my gosh.
ridiculous.
I
And it was a
still have 2 or 3
ravioli.
of them in my pocket.
Don't tell me that because I will cut you for one of those.
Just so good. I mean, everything from just the food, the surroundings, the people. It was just a great time.
The service just always fantastic down at Mr. Lester's. Make your reservations now. They're only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you've got to get there. That's the only nights they're open during the week. So go enjoy. Tell them Implicit Bias Radio sent you.
I'm feeling very envious now hearing on the menu. But yeah, I must say, I do love my child, and that's why I miss.
I get it. But man, that truffle, cream, spinach, and cheese ravioli.
Oh my goodness.
I love my child, but no, I'm kidding. Yeah. The food was just fantastic. Everything was wonderful. The mini crab cakes were delicious as always. So those are just reasons to go to Mr. Lester's Steakhouse. That type of fare, and now with the tomahawk on the menu for the next couple of weeks, stupid good. Okay, so we're going to get back to some weekly whiskey here in hour 2. We always say hour 2 is more fun because in hour 2, there's always more weekly whiskey. Now, this is for our New Orleans listeners. We love our Implicit Bias Liquor Collective members, and Dornax in New Orleans has just been so gracious. They've been such a great partner in the New Orleans area, and they've been around forever, Grant. I mean, it was a burger chef that used to be next door to it before it became Fun Arcade, but Dornax has always been there, and now the building is something else. It's been, 4 different businesses right next door, but
Right.
Dornax is the constant in Metairie.
The one constant, and it's so funny because it ages me whenever I hear that name because I've lived in Lafayette now for several decades. But when you say Dornax, it's just all of a sudden I'm in my little khaki uniform going to St. Catherine over in Metairie. But yeah, it's just a staple over there.
It absolutely is, and they are really good with their liquor selections and their whiskey selections.
Fantastic.
You mentioned aging. I'm thinking Burger Chef aged me a little bit right there.
Yeah. So I don't remember Burger Chef. I was just a couple years behind it. So like it's a 2 or 3 year difference there. What I remember is the building next door being Fun Arcade.
We had a couple out here.
Yeah. But the Fun Arcade, man, that was absolutely a place to go if you were a kid in Metairie in the 70s, 80s, early 90s.
That's a relic now. There's just no more of those little places.
Nope.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is just a sad representative of the
It is.
little fun.
It is. Our kids got gypped, right? I mean, they didn't get all the fun the arcade type locations, all that stuff. So I feel for them. But you know what? I'll say this to get us back to the weekly whiskey. We said Dornax is the constant next door. One of the constants that you can always find good whiskey and good juice coming out of their particular distillery is Heaven Hill, which is Elijah Craig. This is part of what they call their roundtable picks. They had multiple picks. It was the Peerless, the Dark Arts, the Larceny, and the Elijah Craig. Four different bottles, all a tribute to the founding of Dornax Grocery and the founder of Dornax. This Elijah Craig at 128. Jonathan, I want to start with you. 128 proof. This Elijah Craig, what do you think?
I'm thinking it's a misprint. After drinking the 119, which seems a little more harsh to me than this Elijah Craig, at 128, it's unbelievably smooth. It goes down real easy. It's
Too easy?
Too easy. Yeah, it's not very viscous. It doesn't linger around, but it's solid, man. It's as your phrase is, the bourbony McBourbon.
Bourbony McBourbon?
And
Yeah.
it's your typical Elijah Craig profile.
I agree. Typical on the palate for what Elijah Craig you would expect. But man, when I tell you this is subtle, nuanced, this is refined around the edges.
Seductive.
This one, yes. This goes to seductive.
I've been waiting.
This
Thank
goes
you.
to seductive, voluptuous, velvety,
so
even on the
smooth.
palate, right? That to me, I like the pinhook. I love the pinhook because of sometimes that rough around the edges. And I've got a really bad reference here that I can't make on the radio, but it's okay.
Don't hesitate.
Oh, no, I need to
it's
hesitate on this one. I like to keep us on the air. The Elijah Craig, though, is just, it's butter. It is almost buttery on the offering. Like, that's how it sits on the palate. It is
Absolutely.
bourbony butter on the palate. It is that smooth. It is that silky. It is that velvety. It is that seductive. Just, it is that luscious.
Luscious.
Buttery
I like
was
it.
buttery was spot on.
Am I wrong with it being buttery?
That is absolutely spot
And it
on.
doesn't taste buttery, but it tastes like bourbon with just the way that butter sits and goes down the palate.
Orville Redenbacher popped into my head when you said that.
Oh, no.
We're not talking about the Bill Gates butter, though.
We will talk about the Bill Gates butter at the end of this episode because that is travesty. Someone should be shot for doing this. That's a whole nother thing. And I don't really mean that. I don't. We try
No,
to be
you don't.
Catholic and
Don't say
Christian
that.
on this show.
Yes.
I didn't say killed. I just said shot, right?
Yes.
That's anyway.
In a non-vital area.
Correct. Anyway, this pick from Dornax, this Elijah Craig at 128.
Fantastic.
Oh my goodness. Fantastic. Cheers to Nicole Dornack for the pick on this one. I know she was involved in this. Big part of that because this, another fantastic pick. It's rare that we get two blues back to back, but I think this would also be a unanimous blue, at least for me.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yep. And Jonathan, you are not a proof hound over there.
Not at
You
all.
don't like 128.
I do not.
For the most
That's
part.
usually a little bit too much for me, but man, this is the devil in disguise, man. It's really is.
So that's two now. We had a 119 and a 128, and
Which
both
is
of them,
over my
both of them
limit.
drink like a 104,
Yeah, absolutely.
which was
And
I'm going to say this Elijah Craig drinks like an 80. It drinks 80,
it
85
drinks
to
way
90.
lower than-
No
it drinks
argument.
85 to 90. It does not even
No
drink at
argument
100.
here.
I
it's
mean,
scary.
yes. One more time. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of the devil in disguise, we were on the Jeffrey Epstein train in the last hour. And I mean, there's so much here. There is so much to unravel with this story that makes it, man, just so much more difficult to delve into. And Jonathan, you brought up a good point during the break that Speaker Mike Johnson actually made a comment about why apparently, so let me go back with the story. We talked about the fact that, what is it? Plastic is her name from the Virgin Islands?
Plaskett.
Yeah,
Plaskett.
Plastic.
Stacey Plaskett.
Yeah, Stacey Plastic. Fake. So anyway, she was texting during a congressional hearing with Jeffrey Epstein. So what you have is Jeffrey Epstein working with, and please don't believe me on this, Jeffrey Epstein working with Democratic lawmakers to go after Donald Trump because it was Donald Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, who was testifying in front of Congress at that time. So you have that. By definition, that means it's a conspiracy, not a theory. When you have the texts, it's the definition of a conspiracy. Then we're going to expand the conspiracy. Because now if you go look, and please again, don't believe us on this, the New York Times was working with Epstein to write stories about Donald Trump in a negative light. So all these people who were saying Trump was friends with, Trump was his buddy, Trump was this, Trump. Epstein was working with multiple people to try and get rid of Trump, not just with lawmakers, but in the court of public opinion.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this was all happening after he was exposed.
Correct. This is all happening after Epstein was exposed.
Colluding with a known
pedophile.
Pedophile.
Correct. With a known convicted pedophile. Now the question is, Jonathan, why? Why would Epstein work so hard to take down Donald J. Trump?
He got kicked out of the club.
Well, that could be one
Look,
reason.
I'm kidding, but it boils down to a lot of things.
I think Jonathan has the real reason.
It's more than deeply what?
Well, as Senator Mike Johnson may have had a fraudulent
Representative
sorry.
Mike Johnson.
He mentioned, and don't take this verbatim, something about people questioning Trump on certain things, and he said something to the fact that he couldn't believe somebody would question a federal informant.
Meaning they were questioning Donald Trump.
Trump.
Now, this is fun fact. There was a really big RICO, racketeering, influence, corrupt organization case in New York, back in the 80s, early 90s.
Not mob related?
No, it was mob related.
Was it? Okay.
Okay. So the case, when you say mob related, do you know what case I'm talking about?
No, because there was quite a few. I mean, that's
But there was
what
one.
They invented to go after the mob.
There was one really big one, and it took down who? All heads of the 5 families. So the whole 5 families thing you heard about in The Godfather and all this, it existed.
Right.
The commission existed. Well, there was a very specific attorney who took on the racketeering, influence, corrupt organization case against the 5 families. Anybody know who that attorney was? I love playing Jeopardy on Implicit Bias Radio.
You know what? If I didn't have 119 and 128 in my head right now, I would know this.
I've got both of them, so I don't want to hear it. I'll tell you who he was. He was former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
Right.
Now, this was before he was mayor of New York.
Correct.
He was just an attorney.
Yeah.
He was just a federal prosecuting attorney in the Southern District of New York.
Before he moved to DA. Didn't he get DA before he got...
No, I don't know which order that went, but he's the guy who took down the 5 families with a RICO case.
Ballsy.
Do you know who one of his documented informants was in that case?
I'm guessing Trump.
Donald J. Trump. So hear me out.
Wow.
The mob's biggest rackets were what? Unions?
Oh, yeah. Construction.
Concrete?
Taxi cabs?
Concrete? Who was building skyscrapers all over New York and New Jersey at the time?
Yeah,
Donald Trump. So Donald Trump was a federal informant against the mafia when Rudy Giuliani took them down in that case.
Because the mafia was leaning on Trump to get all of his permits. And
Please
stuff, correct?
don't believe me on this.
Yeah.
Please look this up. I don't want you to believe us, but I guarantee if you really look this up, you're going to find out this is right. Because they were going after Trump because they wanted a slice of the pie. They wanted a slice of the building.
And
they
you couldn't
wanted
get things done in New York
Correct.
without being involved with the mob.
And that's the big thing. You couldn't get things done without being involved with the mob. Sounds like you couldn't get things done in Washington, D.C. without being involved with who?
Jeffrey Epstein, apparently.
Or Slick Willie.
So follow me here. This is implicit bias radio theory. The real reason that Epstein is working with plastic and with the New York Times to try and take down Trump in the court of public opinion and in law enforcement is because Epstein knows that Trump is an informant. Epstein knows that Trump knows too much. And Epstein knows that if Trump ever comes for him, he knows everything.
I would beg to differ that there are more than that, that somebody was behind pushing him to pursue
I don't
Trump
disagree
in a
with
bad
that.
light.
I don't disagree with that. That
With-
Epstein's handlers, there's
Handlers,
someone
that's
behind the curtain, behind the curtain, behind the curtain. So whoever was Epstein's handlers, whoever made Epstein,
The Sixth Commission.
it could,
So,
who knows?
So
From
you
Arkansas.
think all of this was happening to keep Trump from going after Epstein?
I think all this was happening to keep Trump out of power, period. Because if you remember the words from Hillary Clinton, the email in WikiLeaks, again, please don't believe me, did Hillary Clinton email, if this MFer gets elected, we are all going to hang from nooses?
But it hasn't happened.
Did you not listen to the show last week? Count your little blessings. Take the little wins along the way.
But it has not happened there because, if Trump had that smoking gun and he told her, remember the debate on stage when Trump and Hillary are walking around with their microphones?
And he said, if I get elected, you'd be in jail.
You'd be in jail. Why has it not happened?
Okay, so I have a theory.
Because he is a vindictive SOB.
I have a
he
theory.
Really is.
I have a theory. And
but there's
follow
a
me
reason
here.
why he doesn't.
Follow me here.
Okay.
Have you ever read The Art of War? Sun Tzu.
Have not.
Okay.
You reference it a lot, and
Okay.
it's on my read list, but I have
13
not read it.
treaties on war. One of them is prep the battlefield. The second, another treaty is never start the war until you already have it won. Win the war before it's already started. In other words, there are dominoes and pieces that need to be in place and things that need to happen before you can actually start making big arrests and things of this
So
nature.
he's still prepping, is what you're saying?
This is a deep battlefield.
He's going after Comey and he's going after Letitia James, but he's keeping the Clintons and Epstein on the back burner
Well, hear me out.
until he's ready?
Hear me out. Just
I'm
follow
just-
me
I'm
here.
just asking. I'm
Yeah,
not refuting, I'm
follow me
asking.
here. Follow me here.
Okay.
Where we are today, if you arrest the Clintons and they get brought in front of a judge by the name of Boasberg, what happens to your case against them?
Considering Boasberg's probably far left leaning and put in place.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They
the
get your
courts are loaded.
They
with
get
far
your
left
entire case. You miss your shot.
Right.
Double jeopardy is attached, and you can't go after them again. The battlefield has to be completely prepped.
Do not bury the dagger
I got
until
you.
you can bury it deep.
If you're going to kill the king, you better not miss. If you're going to go after the king, you can't miss. You have to do this once and you have to do it right. That's my opinion. And the battlefield is deep. I mean, we are just now getting things in place from the Supreme Court. I mean, Ketanji Jackson can't spell her own name, much less write a legal opinion.
That is embarrassing.
Yet she's on the Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
Think about how compromised all the other courts are beneath that, where you've got to get these activist judges out of the way.
It's quite a nice barrier.
It's a
if you think
huge
about it.
barrier.
It
No, look,
really is.
it's a beautiful strategic play.
Is
by,
there appointment?
by
I know
leftists.
Supreme Court appointments are for life, but all of the district court judges are they
Well,
there forever?
so we're starting to see that Boasberg's rulings are being overruled again and again and again and again. You may see him impeached. I can't guarantee.
I hope so. But you remember Chuck Schumer? He actually came out and slipped and said, "Yeah, we put 233
He did.
district court judges in place to combat anything
did.
Trump can do."
He did.
So it's like a chessboard. It really is. But they're very stacked in the.
Well, remember, if we are prepping the battlefield, so are they.
Oh yeah.
So and they were better
So
at prepping the
nasty.
battlefield for decades before the honest people were.
Yeah, right.
So to undo this does not happen like a light switch. It takes a while, and the battlefield has to be right. I think the battlefield is starting to get right because we're starting to see things like, nothing's happening. Comey.
Yeah,
Right?
I heard that case is falling apart at the seams.
Only because why? They've got one activist judge who is stepping way beyond his bounds, and that's going to end up in the Supreme Court, and they're going to have to fix it there. So this is how you have to, and this is how you pressure test the battlefield. Comey gets off. Walker, this is going to go long. Comey gets off, but by Comey getting off, you expose the weakness in the pipes. So, I mean, you're playing multiple levels of chess here with lots of people. This is not just Trump. Don't think this is just Trump. This is a lot of good people trying to do good things.
You got to admit though, they prepped the battlefield at this point pretty nicely.
They have, but you
Yeah.
also have to admit that with the way
you
things are
jackasses.
going with the Supreme Court, I mean, we just got that Trump can now utilize the Alien Enemies Act 5-4 decision in the
Right.
last 24 hours before this show,
Right.
and now Tren de Agua, Trump, you're gone. If Trump says you're gone, you're gone. You are an alien enemy to the United States. The president has the right to use that, and the district judges have no more power over it because of Boasberg and because it got sent to the Supreme Court. So these are the types of things you have to think about and things you have to see when it comes down to people like Epstein, because this runs deep. It's run for a long time, And to truly get it out, it's run on both sides of the aisle. There are
yeah,
Republicans and
absolutely.
Democrats who are going to get implicated in this. And we want to see all of them get implicated. Whether they're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, whether they're a lying socialist like Bernie Sanders who says, oh, everybody needs money, but he's got $2 million homes. I don't want to hear it. You lying POS. That is our implicit bias. We'll come back. More of hour 2 after this break. We are full of Thanksgiving on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. We have a crew here, and that's crew with a K in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast there, the TSPL. Sitting to my left, he is Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, otherwise known as K&B, who sells big bet of diamonds for less.
And I'm wearing the chain.
Yes, you are wearing the What Would You Pay championship belt chain from Box Drop of Lafayette.
Fantastic.
Love it. At the bar, and he's at the bar by himself. He owns the bar this week. He is Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
It's as the immortal words of a fake Cajun, Justin Wilson. I'm very glad for you to see me. I'm guaranteed. But being solo has got its benefits sometimes.
It's nice up there.
Yeah.
Flying solo.
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
fighting for the microphone.
I was about to say, and I think you found the lone chair of intoxication in the TSPL, and that works.
It's getting pretty comfortable.
Okay, we're going to shift gears. I mean, we spent, dear Lord, an hour on all the different aspects of the Epstein story in this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. So we're going to shift back because we are thankful that it is going to be Thanksgiving week after this episode airs here on Implicit Bias Radio. And man, we're just glad to be in the United States because what's going on in Mexico right now is insane. And what's maybe even more insane is that the media here in the United States basically said, yeah, it's not important. We don't need to cover that.
Shocker.
We don't need to cover a revolution in a neighboring country because of cartel influence, essentially. And that's the reason that we're being given. So let me give you a little background on this story as we take a look at it. So first of all, over last weekend, there were basically violent uprisings in Mexico City. And it was all young people. It was all the youth.
Gen Z.
Yep, Gen Z being fed up with their president in Mexico. Now, let's start with her. Because she is a very interesting story in and of herself as to how she got elected. Jonathan, Grant, do y'all remember how this election went down, like the path to the election, the campaigns?
No, I didn't do a deep dive on her, but I've watched and read a lot about the cartels and stuff. So give me her background.
Well,
I
so
can tie
her
this
background is not important. This is basically how the campaign went. So first of all, I don't even remember her name. What's her name? Do you remember her name?
in. No, chef,
Well,
not chef.
We'll pull it up.
Yeah, it's a pretty difficult name. to
Yeah,
pronounce.
it's a
Pardo's her
Yeah,
last
keep talking.
it's it is a name of Jewish descent, which is really interesting that in a country as Catholic as Mexico, that someone who is Jewish gets elected.
Claudia Sheinbaum.
Claudia Sheinbaum, yes. So this is basically the way the campaign went. I stand in opposition to Claudia Sheinbaum. Pow! I stand in opposition to Claudia Sheinbaum. Pow!
Which is traditional in Mexico, actually.
Well,
I
so
won't mess with the cartels. Okay, you can have the office.
the number of people who announced that they were running and got somehow mysteriously Clintonized in Mexico was like 27.
Yeah.
27, maybe more.
Which is not unusual for Mexico.
No, 27's a big, I don't care where you are. For 27 candidates to mysteriously die during the campaign, I mean, that's insane.
27 of your typical residents might not be a number anybody blinks an eye at, but in the political world in Mexico,
Correct.
It's still a little high.
So what we have here, and I'd love to say I have proof, what we have here is highly coincidental. That seemingly, unless your name was Claudia Sheinbaum, if you announced that you were running for president of Mexico, you were going to somehow end up dead before the election. That's statistically the odds where that would happen to you in Mexico. That's from the outside, right? So you have that. Then you have mayors starting to stand up and saying, we don't want the crime. We don't want all this going on.
Yeah, that was the mayor on November 1st that got executed because he said he was going to go after the cartels.
Correct.
And that's what they say, the uprising. That's pretty much where it started.
So you can say it started there. That was the match. The gasoline was Sheinbaum getting
absolutely.
elected.
Yeah, the sparking point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So follow me here. What you now have are a bunch of young people violently uprising in Mexico. There are riots, full-on riots, over their president. And what does she say? What does she do?
In response?
Correct.
Pretty much nothing. I saw one of her slogans was hugs before bullets.
So here's the really interesting part. She authorized violence from her police force and armed forces.
Against the insurrection.
Yep.
And I hate that word insurrection.
So it wasn't even an insurrection. This was an uprising.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was an uprising. But she authorized violence. There's 2 or 3 reports of that.
Which is somewhat shocking out of character for her, correct?
Oh, no.
At the insistence of the cartels.
So understand this. Violence at the behest of someone who is not duly elected is almost always guaranteed. Go look all over the planet right now. I mean, you're seeing uprisings in London, Paris. We saw them in Tibet. We've seen them in Argentina. We've seen them in Colombia. I mean, we've seen them all over the world. There is something going on in the world that the American media does not want the populace of this country to catch.
Shocker.
There is something happening that the last thing the media wants us to understand is that the people, where the governments get their power, because governments don't give power to the people. People give power to the governments. The people who give power to the governments are sick and effing tired of the corrupt governments that have been in charge of countries all over the world for the past number of decades. And we are being shielded from it, in my opinion. The only place you're going to find it are places like X. That's where you could find the video of what was happening in Tibet and Nepal and happening in Paris and in London and happening in Ireland and Scotland. I mean, you're seeing this all over the world right now.
I think the younger generation is finding a way and realizing that they have the power to use the media to their light, the same way the politicians have been using it to achieve their goals. So they're taking advantage of what the media has brought to them and trying to expose it on their level.
So here's what I think
That
you've
makes
got.
sense.
Here's what I think you've got, Jonathan. I think what you've got is you've got a ruling elite that, for lack of a better term, is old. And what they are accustomed to is the media that has always worked for them. What do I mean by that? ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Saturday Night Live, movies, propaganda allowed in the United States in the sake of news, in the name of news.
But the information network is so saturated with social media, and it follows you around on a daily basis right there in the palm of your hand.
Well, X is to me, the pinnacle of where we are seeing true unfiltered, or as close to unfiltered as we possibly can.
It's constant.
And that's the thing. It is constant. Which means that if you have 30,000 people tweeting something in Mexico City showing video, which the video's there, unless it's AI, which it could be, we'll always give that caveat, unless what we have seen, unless what everybody else was seeing is AI. When you've got 30,000 people sending this information out of Mexico, that is significantly more information than the one CBS or NBC or ABC reporter, or the 5 CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN reporters that you have in one location all telling the same story. When you've got 30,000 people all sending the same information out, now all of a sudden that younger generation has taken the informational power away.
My point exactly. They're learning how to use it against them, because if you ask my kids, what did you see on Channel 10 CBS News today? They will tell you, I have no idea. But if it comes from social media,
if it's a TikTok dance,
they will tell you everything and then some about it.
Yep.
But think about how easily corruptible that is.
It is.
I mean,
and I hate to
that's
say
why I
it.
love that you say go find it on your own. But think about it. I hate to age myself like this again, but when we were growing up, you went to school, you came home, went to football practice, came home after that, and there was news from 6 to 7 o'clock. And if you caught the news, you were able to talk about it and disseminate it.
And if you didn't watch that, there was news at 9 to 10, and that's all you had.
Yeah, that's it. But now it is so in your face
But
and so,
follow me
and
here.
so easily corruptible.
But follow me here. What's more corruptible? The 5 people all telling the same stories from WGNO, from WWL, from
or the 30,000.
or the 30,000, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's easier to control the narrative when you're controlling 5 people telling the story as opposed to 30,000 people telling the story.
But
It's why
Mexico is so corrupt.
It's
and
why
always
we
has
tell
been.
it about your implicit bias. We'll be back. Penultimate segment right after this. We're going to butter things up this Thanksgiving on Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. Sitting in for our co-host, Caleb Morse, is Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers. You're not really sitting in for him because you're a member of the OG crew. I mean, you've been around forever, like the Sandlot, forever.
Yeah, I'm always in the back seat, though.
Well, you're always at the bar.
I refuse to give up this chair. Caleb, sit at the bar.
I think there's about 3 or 4 people you might need to fight for that, and I'm okay with it. I'll gladly throw the knife in the middle of the room and watch y'all go to the death. That's okay.
Done. If I can use this chain as a weapon, I'll be sitting pretty.
At the bar, he is Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services. Good to have you back as well.
And if this is the back seat, I'm enjoying it.
Hey, some people appreciate things, Grant.
Hey,
some people.
I've done the bar solo. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
the
fantastic.
bar solo. I kind of would love somebody else to actually drive the car for once and just me go sit at the bar.
Caleb takes the wheel.
Yeah,
every
but
once in a
then
while.
you'd have to deal with me just like 3 sheets
yeah,
to the wind
right.
at the bar. Which
Cheers.
Me
What you
and my
think?
Hey, I want to see that.
Me
What
and,
you think about it? Come on, cheers.
Me and my sense of humor. No, I'll get us thrown off the air pretty quick. All right,
love it.
because if I lose that filter, it's going to be a problem. But we are buttering things up, and we actually ran this story a few months ago. And now I was aggravated about this story back then. Now I'm really aggravated with this story. And here's why. You should be aggravated too, and you should be aggravated probably more than you know. Because if you want proof that people are poisoning your food supply without telling you, this is it. This is the story. So here's the story. So there is a company outside of Chicago. It's in an industrial complex. It is a chemical manufacturing facility. They are converting carbon, as in carbon from natural gas, carbon in the air, carbon captured out of the air. They are converting carbon to a fatty substance. So essentially, fat is just carbon in a different molecular form. So here's how I want you to think about this. Margarine is made of what?
Oils.
Oil.
Oils.
It's oil. It is hydrogenated oil. Well, what else is made of oil? You sit on it, you drive on it, you interact with it every day. It's in the mic flag, it's on the bottle, it's in the mic arm, it's in the can. Plastic.
Ding, ding, ding.
So plastic is made from oil, and margarine is made from oils. Now, they might be made from different types of oils, but here's the really interesting part. Margarine is one molecule away from what?
Butter.
Nope. Not even close. Dear God, no.
What?
Margarine is one molecule away from being plastic. The molecular difference between margarine and plastic is minuscule.
Put plastic on my waffles?
If you're using margarine, and no, because we don't have waffles. We have waffles. We have waffles. I love waffles. No. Love me some waffles. No. But margarine is essentially one molecule away from plastic. So follow me here. So you've got carbon that it creates fat. What is butter? Butter is a fatty substance. It is milk fat churned to create butter.
Churned milk fat.
So what have some chemists done? They have taken carbon captured from the air, captured from natural gas, and they have created a fatty substance that they then flavor, and they are calling it impossible butter.
Of course. From the
And take a guess-
never-ending mind of
And
Bill Gates.
pocketbook of Bill Gates.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, why does this aggravate me? So first of all, the people who talk about wanting to be one with nature can't accept that nature gave us freaking butter. You want to go eat your hippie Nola Crunch, right? And you want to have all things natural. And you're saying, oh, this is better for the environment. But the butter that comes from natural sources isn't? That is the Wookiee defense. It does not make sense. So that's number one. Number two, this is how they get it to you. And this is what ticks me off. They go create this fake butter. Then they don't put it on the shelves. They don't put it out there for you to buy it and say, oh, we're going to see if people want this in the marketplace and people want to put this on their tables and want to put this on their bread and want to cook with this and do all this stuff. What do? They buy their way into other businesses. They go to chocolatiers and say, hey, instead of paying this for real butter, why don't you pay this for our fake butter? And now you can use our fake butter just like real butter. You still get the same flavor maybe that you get, but it's not the same. And they get to put it in your food supply without you even really knowing.
They package and manufacture for third-party sources to introduce this into your diet.
And here's the really crazy part. So how do I know this? It's because businesses buy into other businesses all the time. The beverage industry is notorious for this. Soft drink companies buy shelving space. People go in and say, hey, I'm willing to pay you X amount of dollars if you give us this amount of shelf space in your store, which means consumers don't have freedom of choice. It appears as if they have freedom of choice. Consumers walk in and they are free to choose what has been purchased and put in front of them. And that's the big secret. And that's what's going on, what this fake ass butter is, that consumers are going to want to buy these products, high-end chocolates, this other stuff that they're putting it in without knowing, because who reads the ingredients in the label?
Very true.
Nobody. Nobody reads the ingredients. They go, oh, high-end chocolate. It's expensive. It must be all natural. Must be really good stuff. They buy it. They eat it. They say, oh, it tastes delicious. You know, the real genius with people who are trying to kill you with food is that they make it taste good. That's the real genius.
Palatable.
Oh, it's not just palatable. It's a chemical reaction in the brain once it hits the palate that makes you crave more.
But without us knowing that it's actually there and what's in it.
Technically, we could know. Technically, we could know because we could read the ingredient label. We could read the label on the ingredients.
Not going to happen.
As there's a famous philosopher who once gave a quote that is absolutely applicable here. And that quote was, ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody's got time to read the ingredient label. Nobody reads it. Therein lies the problem. So when you're cooking for Thanksgiving, in our implicit bias, please do your family, do yourself a favor. Read the ingredients. Don't use fake butter. Don't use margarine. Use the real stuff. Use the stuff God gave us instead of using the stuff that some chemist thinks is a better idea for us to eat than maybe our creator thinks is what we should eat. Because if you're sitting there having to put things through extruders to eat it, it's probably not what God wants you to consume. It's probably not, and let's take it even away from a religious aspect, it's not what the human body has evolved to consume.
Right.
We haven't kept up with, take that finger, I'm kidding, Walker. We have not evolved to keep up with the chemistry of food. It's just that simple. We hope that you have evolved to keep up with Implicit Bias Radio. One more story, another fun one as we get ready to head into the Thanksgiving weekend or the weekend before Thanksgiving, as we look forward to wrapping up hour 2 in this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. Sitting in the co-host seat, he is Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, otherwise known as Kennebra. And you guys at William S. Nacall sell what, Grant?
Bigger, better diamonds for less.
There you go. That's why we call him Kennebra. At the bar, he is Jonathan Broussard of William S. Nacall. No, he's Jonathan Broussard of Industrial Fabrication Services. I love playing around with those every now and then.
We sell quite a different type of metal.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But it'd be fun for you guys to like swap what you're selling one day just to go see what the other
In each
is
other's world, right?
like. Yeah. Okay, so I need you to do me a favor, Jonathan. I need you to ring the bell. Because in the final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio, that is the bell for the conspiracy theorists were right again. Now, I don't want to say we don't like to say we told you so, because sometimes we don't like to tell our listeners we told you so. We like to tell people who think we're wrong, I told you so. We like to tell people who don't already know, I told you so. So this is the Conspiracy Theorists Were Right Again segment on Implicit Bias Radio. A few weeks ago, we had a conversation about people who were fired from the British Broadcasting Corporation. Jonathan, Grant, you remember why they got fired?
Well, they resigned, correct?
They resigned.
Yeah, they kind of edited the
Misleading or
Trump,
false
the Trump
information.
J6.
Yeah. So what happened
that's
was
so bad.
they
Edited.
selectively edited the speech to make it sound as if Donald Trump was inciting a riot.
Said, let's go fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
They left out a
They
couple
left
of
out
minutes.
40 something minutes, right? I mean, they really selectively edited it. They got fired. And on, I think, the second show where we talked about that, because we talked about it being edited on one show. Then we talked about the people who resigned, with air quotes, in the next show. And we made the comment, gee, I wonder where they were getting their funding. And we actually made the comment, I'll bet it's coming from USAID. Mike Benz
Good call.
on X brought the receipts. So let me get this straight here in the Top Secret podcast lair. The British Broadcasting Corporation, who was allegedly the most credible pinnacle of actual journalistic information,
So we thought.
got caught selectively editing information or a speech by a United States president in order to make him look as if he was a criminal. And they were getting funding from the US government in order to stay in business. All three of those things, everything that we just mentioned, those are all factual. When you put those things in an equation, Jonathan, what comes out at the end? What does it equal to you?
It sounds like, say this and if we can accomplish our goal, you'll keep getting funded.
Remember when everybody was screaming up
Collusion.
and down? A conspiracy.
Oh, right.
Collusion is another word for a conspiracy.
Right.
And this is not a theory. Now, these are facts. Now, whether there was a conversation where someone directly said, hey, this is what needs to happen in order to do this, I don't know that happened. But what we now know is that people inside of our government were paying the company that selectively and falsely smeared the president of the United States in the media that receives global attention. You're not going to convince me that somehow, some way, somewhere, that what happened wasn't paid for. I'm going to take it beyond, it's a coincidence. Mark my words. They were paid to write that story and make that story look that way. They were told, if you want this money, this is what has to happen.
Someone was promised something.
Someone was promised something, because the amount of money that we're talking about here, we're not talking about $45.36. We're not talking about little Jimmy's lunch money, right? We're not talking about what's going to help pay for LSU's next head coach, which is $47 for a Cane's box, 4 chicken tenders, 2 toasts, fries, and a tea, all right? That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is millions or tens or hundreds of millions of dollars a year from USAID.
Yeah. You referenced Mike Benz's article. The very first sentence is USAID is BBC Media Action's single biggest donor other than the British government itself.
So the British Broadcasting Corporation, the second largest donor is you and me. Help me figure that out.
Oh my goodness. Well, all the other stuff that USAID funded, that crazy list, this shouldn't be surprising.
It was like $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, when you start going down that list, it was
Unlimited amount of condoms in.
I was about to say it was like $4 million for the study of, the Ugandan hermaphroditic pygmies somewhere here. I mean, it's what?
I think that whole.
And it was
is still
pygmy
open.
hamsters, by the way. It was pygmy hamsters. Yeah.
I think that USAID
Frightening.
funding hole is still opening up, and we
Oh,
have
no.
yet to get to the end of who actually received money from this.
Well, I don't think we've seen all of it yet.
That's it.
I think the spigot has been cut off. And what we are seeing as the funds run out, we are starting to see as those organizations start to dry up, and we are now recognizing, there was one, there was another, there was another, there was another,
And
there was another.
someone's going to be upset because they were promised more. And why did the money stop coming?
Well,
And they'll start telling stories.
But the common thread, again, is what we talked about for the whole first hour. All of this was in an effort to defame or to get rid of
One guy.
Donald J. Trump.
this is the crazy part, and this is what people have not figured out. The Matrix has been
baffling.
broken. If Grant sees it, I mean, everybody's seen The Waterboy, right? Y'all remember Grant. I am not a smart man. I was not, I'm kidding. No, but my point is, everybody sees it. Walker sees it. The Matrix has been broken. Everybody now knows this was bought, paid for, and they've all done it to try and get rid of one guy. And if they all hate that one guy is probably the best ally we have. And unfortunately, we don't have more time to talk about it this week. But we do have bonus content, and we've got a couple stories and bonus content that they're going to be like Wanda on In Living Color. Hey, they're going to rock your world. And that is what we're going to have. In bonus content, find us on Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple, Google, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Click, follow, like, share. It's all about your implicit bias. We'll see you in 7.